Can you hear me now?
Oh gosh.
Keisha. I guess that came from Keisha.
Yes.
Oh, here. This is our support
Oh,
person.
down there.
Okay.
Yes, all right.
Oh.
Oh,
Keisha,
try again.
Shauna, did you hear anything I said?
Okay.
Very good.
Start again.
All right, we'll do that all over again.
That's my fault.
Technical glitch. So that would explain why all of our viewers just left the room, I guess, in the last 3 minutes. But we'll start over, and hopefully some more people will join us. Great. So my name is Mike Gruen, and I work at Marquette University. I'm one of the assistant directors in the Office of International Education. And joining me this morning is Christina Bijica.
Yep.
Got it right this time. Practice makes perfect. Christina joins us from Romania, although more immediately she's here at Marquette studying supply chain management and international business. She's also a member of our women's basketball team, which is doing quite well these years. So we're glad to have you on that team.
Thank you, Mike.
So I'm going to just give you a brief overview of Marquette, some basic facts and figures, and then we're going to talk for the next hour or so about a variety of aspects of life at Marquette. So you get a perspective from a student, from Christina, and then I'll give you some of the more the professional staff perspective as well. And please, if you do have questions, if you're in the room, feel free to type them in. So Marquette is located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a city of about 1 million people in the metro area. And Marquette is located about a 15-minute walk from downtown. So we're an urban campus. You can see from the slide there that we do have a lot of trees and a nice green campus setting, but we have all the energy and vitality of a city setting. So it's a great place to be. And you'll hear more about that later. The campus itself, as I just said, it has a nice campus feel to it, yet with the city energy. We have about 12,000 students on campus. Primarily, they live on campus or very near campus, so it has a strong residential feel. Of those 12,000, about 8,000 students are undergraduates and about 4,000 students are graduates. And we have students from over 60 different countries around the world and all 50 states in the United States. So with that, we'll just kind of jump into some of the things we want to talk about. And again, feel free to type in any questions you might have, and we'll do our best to answer them as we go along. So the first thing I want to talk about a little bit, and Christina too, is some of the things you can study at Marquette. So Marquette, as I said a second ago, offers over 60 different undergraduate majors and probably over 40 graduate programs. On the undergraduate side of things, our largest college is the College of Arts and Sciences. It's the largest probably because it has the most majors. Anything from chemistry to physics to psychology to women's studies to biomedical sciences to history. You'll find those all housed in the College of Arts and Sciences. In some ways, for our international students, our most popular college is probably the College of Business, where Christina finds herself.
Yeah.
And then there's also engineering, health sciences, nursing, education, communications. So you have a wide range of options at Marquette. Maybe you could say a few words about the College of
Yes.
Business.
Business. I can talk a little bit about that. There's a lot of majors you can go into if you decide to study business. There's the Marquette is nice because they offer this double majoring, so you can choose your major. And because of the electives and courses you have to complete for that major, it's easy to complement it with another major because it's the same number of electives. So it's basically you just take 1 or 2 extra courses and then you have a double major instead of just a major and a minor or something like that. And you have a lot of choices like international business and supply chain, which I'm majoring in. You have IT, you have accounting, you have finance, econ, entrepreneurship, real estate, human resources. There's just so many things you can choose from. So that's really nice. And I believe a lot of the other schools Marquette has, there's a wider array of choices that you have as well.
Yeah, and Christina is actually in one of our top ranked majors. Supply chain management is ranked 16 in the country by U.S. News and World Report, so that's an outstanding program. The College of Business also has the finance major, which is ranked 17, and accounting, which is ranked 23. So there's some really powerful majors in that group. You're a double major. I actually
Yes.
had a student in my office yesterday who's a triple major, which is a
Wow.
little bit crazy. It's possible. It's going to take her an extra semester, but she has three majors. So she's been working very hard, and I'm sure she'll go on to great things when she graduates. So it's
Oh,
very impressive. But the one of the great things about U.S. universities is the flexibility that they provide in, as Christina said, combining different fields of study. You were talking about two different areas within business, but
mhm.
students will often double major in business and psychology or something in a completely different academic area. And that is also not just possible, but often encouraged. Um, so, and changing majors too. In a lot of countries, once you pick your major, you're in that major kind of for good. In the US, you can usually, if your grades are good, fairly easily change majors or add that different major in halfway through your career even. I myself, I was a physics major my first year and a half, 2 years, and then I changed to political science and German. I had a double major too.
Yeah, I can talk about that as well. When I got here, I didn't know what to study, so that's nice because Marquette offers you have to take a certain classes before you get into your major, into your field of study. So you get a feel of everything that happens. You take courses from first the College of Business or College of, engineering, health sciences, wherever you decide to study. And there's the prerequisites, so to say, and you get a feel of what each field is about, and you can choose from there. I was a marketing major and international business, and I changed my marketing major, I think my sophomore year. So sophomore year, second semester. So you have enough time to switch your majors, or probably even college, or I don't know. Well, you can have flexibility there.
It's true, and if you work hard, you can do what we both did and not even add extra time. I managed to change majors in my third out of 4 years, and I still finished in 4 years. So it is possible to be very efficient with that. Um, we wanted to say a couple words, and I'll start, and then maybe Christina will fill in some detail. Marquette, I mentioned in the beginning, has sort of a liberal arts approach to college education, which means that while you're going to be studying deeply in your major, you're going to have a lot of courses in supply chain
Mm-hmm.
management and in international business or in
Yeah.
German and political science in my case. We at Marquette believe that to be the best supply chain management type or international business person
Yeah.
or political scientist, you need knowledge that in broader areas as well. If I can get both my hands on the screen, you need to know some history, some psychology, some math, some science, some English. So we have a set of courses that you can choose from. There's some requirements and there's some freedom. We call that the core of common studies.
Mm-hmm.
And so at Marquette, that will include taking a couple courses in religion, because we not only are we a Catholic school and we like to talk about the role of faith, whatever your faith is, whether that's Buddhist faith, Muslim faith, Christian faith. I'm Protestant, Christina's Orthodox, so you do not need to be Catholic to come here, but they do want to talk about how faith impacts your life and your professional career. That's part of the core of common studies, in the same way they want you to think about, know something about history, psychology, math, and science, so that you can be the best engineer or the most successful businessman because you know more about the world that you're operating in. And as we'll talk about later, it's part of Marquette's commitment to serving others and helping make the world a better place. And the more you know about the world around you, the easier it is for you to do that. Um, Maybe you could talk a little bit about the typical class size. What's been your experience with
Um,
class sizes?
Usually they're all medium-sized classes, no more than 30 students in a class, which is really good because in a very big class, the teacher doesn't really have a more a closer relationship with the student or the students. So you really get more engaged in a small class, and you're more prone to pay attention and be closer to everything that's happening instead of being in a big class. So that's what I like about Marquette. I had very few classes, usually large classes like accounting or I don't know some. There are very few that are in big classes like Marquette Hall are some of the places you have I don't know exactly how many seats, but they're like an amphitheater type of, from the top all the way to the bottom, and you can still see very well. But I like their markets policy about 20 25 people, maximum 30, a lot of engagement. Um, yeah, that's
One of the nice things about the size of Marquette, at the beginning I mentioned it's about 8,000 undergraduates, is that you get a lot of opportunity to engage with your professors, and because your class sizes aren't so
hmm
large, so while your professors are often doing cutting edge research with national grants, you're still going to know them by name, and more importantly, they're going to know you by name. So it's one of the nice things about a school that's a medium-sized school like Marquette.
yeah.
Um, what about studying at Marquette? Where do people like to study? Where you kind of mentioned a couple places there, but maybe you can tell us
Yeah.
your favorite places.
Oh, okay. My favorite places. Well, there's a lot of buildings in Marquette, so you can study in any academic building. Also, dorms where you live, all buildings where you live. They also have places you can study, but after your first semester, you'll get a feel of where you like and where you're more comfortable in studying. I like studying in the AMU breweries, especially uh, the one in the AMU, but there's a couple of others.
Those are the coffee shops on
Yes,
campus.
the coffee shops. I like to study in the law building, which is the biggest.
Very
Oh
nice.
yes, and they they have great food there. Their cafeteria, it's beautiful. Even if you're not a law student, you can go in there. There's really nice atmosphere. I like to study in Rainer Library on the bridge. That's also a good place. Sometimes if in the library it can get really quiet, if you're a quiet person, that's the place to go. I like a little bit of noise, so um, yeah, outside. A lot of students, you'll see a lot of students studying outside. Just if it's nice outside, they just chill on the grass and study, and can really do that. But if you're not outside type of person that likes outdoors and that type of thing, um,
I love the library. I did a little bit of graduate work here at Marquette too, and the library has just fabulous study spaces for a small group study where you can have a little room to yourself where you can talk, or you can go curl up in a nice leather chair somewhere, or you go back in the stacks by the books, and
yeah,
big, huge floor to ceiling windows, but still quiet, and nice tables and
yeah.
computers everywhere if you need to do some internet research. So it's really nice.
hmm
And at least half of the library is open 24 hours, 7 days a week during
Yeah.
the school year, which is a great perk if you're a night owl or you're just late and procrastinating.
Yeah.
So you can really get a lot done over there. Um, one of the things I meant to mention earlier with regards to the majors and the faculty members is one of the way the faculty majors engage students is they'll often have them help out in research projects even as an undergraduate. So in many majors, many students will have hands-on research experience as an undergraduate student, and that's something that often doesn't happen until a student is in graduate school. But it really is something nice to put on your resume that makes you more competitive when you go to look for a job or to get into a graduate program after your bachelor's studies. Um, and then another thing that's nice about Marquette and especially our urban location, speaking of jobs and getting into graduate school, are the availability of internships. Because we're a larger city, I think I said about 1 million people in the metro area, we're also the headquarters and the home of many major companies like Harley Davidson, GE Medical Systems, Johnson Controls, uh, Rockwell. I'm trying to think
hmm
Briggs and Stratton. So these are major companies with an international presence. So we've had lots of students get jobs here and then go overseas with that same company. So incredible internship opportunities. I know the College of Engineering has a fabulous co-op program, which is an extensive internship opportunity. I know the College of Business has a variety of internship programs or courses that you can take, and I'm not sure if you've participated in any of those.
Um, internships. I have applied for some. I'm waiting for some. I actually just been to some interviews. The College of Business does help students a lot. They have their own business career center. There's they a lot of companies sponsor the College of Business and also Marquette University. So your college can put you in contact with a lot of people. You just have to, you literally just have to go and ask for help, and you will get it. You'll get internship opportunities. Very recommended that you have 1 or 2 internships by the time you graduate. Um,
You might want to, I don't know if you've engaged in it, but the mentoring program in the College of Business, have you participated
I
in that?
have not participated in a mentoring program, but I did participate to speakers talking about their experiences after they got internships, and what you have to do. Uh, the College of Business gives a lot of makes undergrad students, especially freshmen, sophomores, very exposed to how important internships are. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of either graduate students or students that are seniors, and they talk about their experience, and they really encourage you to take internships. You live in Milwaukee, so you have there's a lot of companies, a lot of opportunities, many choices you can, you just have to go out and ask for help.
So let's switch gears a little bit here, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about where you live on campus and a few things you know about the campus housing
Um,
options.
I'm a junior, so I live in Humphrey Hall. It's an apartment building. I cannot hmm, housing options. There's
Did you live in a residence hall when you started at Marquette?
no. I only lived in Humphrey Hall because I'm in women's basketball program.
That's right.
Yeah, so they wanted all our team together. So I lived there since freshman year, which is very nice. But
So you want me to jump in and talk about the residence halls?
yes, please.
I'm happy to do that. So Marquette has 9 different residence halls, and there are a variety of options within those halls. They have halls that are just for men, halls that are just for women, or a hall just for women, a hall just for men. They have halls that are co-ed by floor. All of the halls have professional staff, and so there's somebody at the front door all the time. You have to swipe your ID card to get in, and there's a student staff member on each floor called a resident hall assistant, and they are in charge of social programming and coordinating things on the floor. So there's lots of opportunity for engagement. And if you have any questions about campus life, they're there for a variety of support functions, and just to help to give you the best experience possible. And then each hall, in addition, has a resident hall director who's they're a full-time professional staff person who works with the resident hall assistants and all of the residents in the hall to make sure that the residence hall experience is the best possible. Marquette does have a residence hall policy that requires students to live in the residence hall for the first 2 years. The exceptions to that are if you're 21 years old or older, you've been out of high school for 2 years, or if you're living with your parents, which for most international students isn't the case, but every once in a while that does happen. So for those 3 reasons you can get out. Otherwise you do need to live in the halls, and the major reasons for that are there's a lot of research that shows that students who live in the residence halls on average have higher GPAs and tend to graduate at a higher rate than students who do not spend that time in the residence hall. So it's just one way that Marquette believes they can help improve a student's chances of succeeding at Marquette. So to make it the best experience possible, they have the staff that I mentioned. They have a lot of social programming and leadership opportunities, so you can build your resume by getting involved in student government and hall governance or administration. Lots of great opportunities there. And then for dining purposes, life is easy if you live in the residence hall. You don't have to cook, although each floor typically has a communal kitchen students can use if they wish. But students living in the halls all have meal plans, and then they can eat in any of the cafeterias on campus.
Yeah.
Marquette has kind of an a la carte program where you can eat anywhere and kind of any time.
Yeah.
And the halls have most of the residence hall dining rooms, and there are 7, I believe, have special themes. So there's an Italian theme, and there's a 1950s style diner theme in one, and there's a healthy theme in the other. So you have a lot of options, and you can go eat with your friends wherever you want, or in most halls, if you don't want to put your shoes on, you can pad downstairs while you wear your shoes. But if you want to go in your casual clothes, you don't have to get your coat on and go outside to even eat. So have you, I know you guys eat with the basketball team together a lot. Have you eaten in any of the other places once in a while?
Yes. So after I was the last one from our team, like the last class that had to stay in Humphrey Hall from freshman year. After that, they changed the policy. So our freshmen lived in McCormick, they lived in Mashuda. Then as sophomores in McCabe and so on.
I'm just going to jump in because I see somebody's asked a question.
Yes.
So I'm going to read it here a second. The question is, I want to know if I didn't get a TOEFL or SAT, do we have our own English language program at Marquette where a student can study English to get admission to Marquette? And if so, how much does it cost? So there's a couple questions in there, and so I'm going to address them. I think I'll start out with the TOEFL English question. We do require English evidence as part of our admission standards. In fact, I'll just briefly review. We require academic evidence, we require English evidence, and then we require financial evidence. The academic evidence is typically your high school transcript, and if there are any external exams in your system, whether that's British IGCSE exams or Indian Standard 10, Standard 12 exams, or IB, if you're in a US system, it's SAT scores. We typically require both your internal marks, your transcript, and those external exams. For English, we do typically require an a TOEFL score or an IELTS score. Those standards are on our website, excuse us, and so you can read them there. I'll just say really briefly, we look at the section scores. So you need an 18 for TOEFL, you need an 18 on listening, and an 18 on reading, and a 20 on speaking, and a 20 on writing. So for IELTS, you need a 6.5 on all section scores except for writing, which can be 6.0. Now, if you don't have those scores, we do work with an English language program. It's not on our campus. It's directly next to our campus, and we have a contract with them so that we will accept successful completion of their program in place of a TOEFL or an IELTS score. What most students interested in that will do is ask us for a conditional admission. And we'll give them a conditional admission if we have all the academic evidence that we need and it meets our standards. And the conditional admission will say, we have everything we need except for your English evidence, and you can come here or go wherever you want and work on your English. And when you get that English, then you know that English score that you need for admission, you know that you will have admission at Marquette. So to directly answer the previous question, we don't have a program on campus, but we do work closely with one right next to campus. In fact, we work closely with them in a way that those students at that program have access to our campus. They have access to our library, they have access to our recreation facilities, they're able to go to student events, so we want them to have as much access to campus life as possible. And then when they complete that program, they can then get final admission to Marquette. That program is called ELS. You can find it on the website, or on our website you can find a link, but you can also find it on the web at els.edu. And I think that last question also included a question about SAT. We do not require SAT scores except for two instances or two cases. The first case is if your high school used a US curriculum, then we do require an SAT, whether your high school is in the US or in Singapore. If they use the US curriculum, we'll want an SAT score. The other case in which we require an SAT score are some countries that require a prep year from their students between high school and college. An example of that would be Saudi Arabia. That's probably the country we see that situation in the most. So if you are from Saudi Arabia, because of that prep year requirement, we will need either an SAT score or completion of that prep year. So I think that answers the question that was asked. If anybody else has questions as we're talking, feel free to type them in and we'll stop what we're saying and just kind of address your question as we go along. So I hope that answers that question about English evidence and English programs on campus or ESL programs on campus. And looks like, do we have a new question here? Do we have, oh, that's an older question. Yeah, okay. So we won't answer that one again. So we were talking about residence halls and dining, I think. Another thing that,
there we go.
There we go. We have another
Yes.
question. Very good. So the question now is, in which state is your university and do we offer law? We're located in Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, in Milwaukee. That's the name of our city. If you don't know where Milwaukee or Wisconsin are, we're located about an hour north of Chicago in the Midwest of the United States. Very easy to get here. You can get here with one, maybe two stops from anywhere in the world. And do we offer law? We offer a pre-law program. The university has a law school, but in the US, law is a post-bachelor's degree study. So you have to do 4 years of undergraduate study, and then you apply to law school, and that's usually 2, maybe 3 additional years of study to get your law degree. And that's in the US, it's typically a JD law degree, not a master's in law. So do we offer law? Yes, as a pre-professional option. If you're doing law as a pre-professional option, you can major in anything you like. We do have a pre-law major, but you can major in psychology or chemistry or anything you like to prepare yourself for law school. Good question. So keep the questions coming and we'll answer them. Do we have another one? No, I think we're caught up.
Yeah,
good.
Caught up.
So we were talking about residence halls. Let's kind of get back to that. I know when people think about coming to a different place and where am I going to live, in the residence halls you typically have a roommate. And so one thing that people can get a little nervous about is, oh, am I going to get along with a roommate? What's it like to have a roommate? And maybe you could speak to your experience with having roommates at Marquette.
I can speak about my experience. I had a really nice experience because I was very compatible with the roommate I had from my freshman year. So we've been rooming for 3 years. I never switched my roommate because we just got along really well. I can say that she switched roommates twice before I did, and she was just 1 year older than me. So if you don't get along with your roommates, you can switch. It's not a big problem. You don't offend anyone. It's just, someone has their values, someone has other values, with different philosophies. Okay, I want to be clean, or I want, I can have some clothes here and there depending on how you get along. I can say you make really good friendships with the roommates that you will stay with. They'll be friendships for life, from college 20 years from now. So definitely I think rooming with people is a great thing.
Where were your roommates from?
I only have one. She's from Canada, so international as well. But
yeah, roommates, I can say a little bit. When I started college, I actually roomed with one of my best friends from high school, and Marquette does offer that option too. If you know somebody at Marquette, you can ask to live with them, and that's almost always possible. But then as we got a little bit older, we went our different ways, and I had roommates from different places in the US. I never had an international roommate, but some of the roommates that I had, I'm still friends with a long time later, over 20 years later. And, there was a time a few years ago and there was a knock on my office door, and it was one of my college roommates who was on campus for a conference and just said, hey, I'm going to go see Mike. So you just never know. You make these friendships that really can last a lifetime. And that's really great. One last thing about food, I did forget to mention earlier for those of you who might be interested in halal diet or kosher diets, that those things are available on campus. We can do them by special request. The residence hall dining situation is able to accommodate that. So that's something we're glad to be able to offer students who have those dietary needs. So If you're interested in Marquette and you're coming, we do provide a comprehensive orientation. You can find a lot of that information on our website, but we want to do everything we can to get you off to a good start at Marquette. So we'll cover a variety of things in that orientation, and Christina probably remembers some of them.
Yeah.
We typically offer a chance to be picked up at the airport right around orientation time, so you don't have to be totally overwhelmed when you arrive in a new city, in a new country. Once you get here, we'll walk you through all the little details of getting started at a U.S. campus. We'll talk about how to get your Marquette ID card. We'll talk about computers and technology. We'll talk about the visa regulations. For most of you will be F1 students. Some of you might be J students. We'll talk about what the visa regulations require you to do and what they say you shouldn't do. We'll talk about health insurance, because we do make sure that you have health insurance here at Marquette. Healthcare is really good, but you need insurance to make sure that you can pay for it. Do I see a question up there?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going to read it.
Sure. Do you want?
I'm not sure what BE is.
Well, the question is, I want to know, do you offer BE programs? And I'm going to assume that's Bachelor of Engineering. Ansa, that's from you. Can you just clarify? Do you mean engineering? So I'm going to assume that's engineering, and just we'll kind of quickly go over again the majors that we do offer. We offer about 9 different engineering majors: biomedical engineering, electrical engineering. Basically, we offer all the engineering you'd be interested in except for chemical and petroleum. Those are the 2 common ones that people ask about that we don't offer. So very strong programs in the engineering field. We have a great brand new engineering building, beautiful facility, one of my favorite buildings on campus. Incredible faculty just doing amazing research. In fact, the students, as I mentioned earlier, students are engaged in research at Marquette, and this year some of the engineering students are actually getting they built a satellite, and they're going to have that satellite launched by NASA into orbit around the globe, around the Earth. It's a pretty amazing project.
Yeah.
But they're working on electric vehicles and just robots and all kinds of amazing stuff in the engineering department. For anybody who wasn't here before, I'll just mention briefly that in addition to engineering, we have a really strong business program with, again, about 9 different majors, from supply chain management to finance to accounting to entrepreneurship, international business, and then the College of Arts and Sciences has many, many majors, from women's studies to history to pre-law to biochemistry to psychology. So most of the things you would want to study at Marquette, you would be able to find here.
Okay.
So I was saying a little bit about orientation there for that little side trip. And so a couple of the other things we do are we will talk about Marquette culture, so you get a sense of what social life is here and the social culture is. We'll also talk about academics here at Marquette and some of the keys to success, practices, habits, behaviors that will help you succeed here, teaching styles that you'll run into. So we really try to cover all of the bases in orientation and help you understand all the different dimensions of U.S. university life. And maybe, if you remember, it's been a while. Did you find your orientation to be successful and useful?
Yes. I remember student orientation. It was my first time in the U.S., so I never actually visited. I just came here, showed up. You come here, I think, a week or 10 days earlier than when school starts. So you have time to go through all these campus tours or orientation activities. It's also, I didn't get picked up from the airport, but it's really easy from Chicago O'Hare International Airport. It's very easy to get here. Just get on a bus and in an hour and a half you're here. So that wasn't too hard. You can make your way very easy to.
I have another question.
Oh, I think we have.
Before
Okay.
we read that question, I'll just quickly jump on your comment. It's
Okay.
easy to get here from Chicago. There is a dedicated bus that comes to Milwaukee and stops at many places, including Marquette's campus.
Yeah.
And it's very simple, but it's also very easy, and many students will do this, to just have your flight come to Milwaukee. And then
Gotcha.
campus is maybe 7-10 miles from the airport. It's
Mm-hmm.
super easy to get from Milwaukee's airport to campus. If
Yeah.
we're not able to pick you up, you can get a shuttle, a cab for $20, $25, less than that. And people are very friendly. And we do have directions on our website about how to set that all up. So
Mm-hmm.
very easy to get to. So do you want to read the question?
Yes. The question is from Francis. He's from Ghana. He's asking. He said finished college of education in year 2012. He has second class lower. Please, can you help me to be enrolled in your institution?
So the steps to get enrolled at Marquette would be, the first step would be to submit an application. You can find our application on our website, which is marquette.edu, and I think we might, do you have the slides? So I don't know how to move around on this. Oh, we can just click over. So I think it's there we go, right there.
This one, okay.
So the first one there under Contact Us, the website, you can find our application right there. It's an online application. It takes maybe 15-20 minutes to fill out. And once you fill that out, you'll also need to submit the required application materials. If, as in Francis's case, you've completed a university degree, we would need, or any university studies, we'll need to see your transcript from those university studies. Transcripts do need to be originals sent directly to us from the institution. So that would be part of your academic information. The other academic information we would need from you would be your high school transcript, and if, as I said earlier, if you did any external exams, British exams, Indian exams, we'll need to see those as well. And then the other application information we would need would be your English evidence. That's usually TOEFL or an IELTS score. And then, although you could possibly study at the ELS center that we work with here in Milwaukee. And then we usually want to see a letter of reference from a recent teacher, and we want to see some financial evidence. That's primarily driven by the U.S. government. We have to document financial means as well as academic ability and English ability. So those items are all listed on our website. The same website there where you can get the application, you'll see a list of required application materials. Francis, once we get all those things from you, we'll be able to make a decision. Our deadline for fall 2014 is passed. That was May 1st. So at this point, the next intake period at Marquette would be January of 2015. And there's still plenty of time to get us materials and applications for that. The deadline for spring is November 1st for applications and November 15 for materials. So that's the overview of how you can apply.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mike.
And let's just see, okay, no
I
more
think
questions.
no
We're
more
caught
questions.
up there. Okay. So we were talking about how to get to Marquette from once you apply and get accepted, you get here, and it's pretty easy to get here from the airports. Once you do arrive, we've been talking a lot about academics and the studying that you do, but one thing about university life in the U.S., you need to study hard. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that really quickly from your perspective. Have you found it to be, how hard is it?
How hard is it? The first semester was hard for me until you get acclimated to the environment and you study English at home and you have a sense of English, of what English is, and you think you know English really well. But then when you get here and you actually talk to people all the time and you start thinking in English and no more in your native language, that just takes like a month or month and a half. So usually through your first semester, you go through these changes, and just studying might be a little slower because you're not used to thinking in English all the time. But after that, I mean, in second semester, I had no more problems with school. It was like first nature to me.
Mhm.
So,
And the courses themselves, were they demanding? Did you
um,
have to put a lot of time into them? Or
well, we talked about core competencies. That's
yeah.
it. Okay, yeah. So Marquette is requiring from students first to have a feel of what about history, about philosophy, sociology, theology, also some courses. So those are some courses you will take in your freshman year, and they're not too demanding. It's just a lot of general knowledge that you learn, and it's very useful to know for the rest of your life. Not too demanding, just to get you introduced to what U.S. culture is about, a lot about history. You can pick a lot of the classes you want to take, not necessarily, they have electives, non-major electives. So I took sociology. Some of the things I took sociology, and I'll take a class in criminology. Just things that are interested to you. Can take about anything, communication studies, pretty much anything you're interested in. So that's pretty, I would say, fairly easy freshman year. Then when you go into your actual major courses, that kind of gets more difficult, but
Mhm.
it's a good experience.
So you will work pretty hard for your academic
Yeah.
progress. However, U.S. universities also really encourage you to get involved in a variety of activities and develop your what they would call your co-curricular life. In other words, your life outside of the classroom as well.
Yeah.
And so there are just a lot of things to do at Marquette, and I'm going to let Christina talk about that a little bit. I'll chime in a little bit too, but she's involved in it firsthand. So, what are some of the things that you find students yourself, but also your friends, get involved with?
A lot of students get involved in organizations. There's I know actually the Office of International Education has an organization as well, student organization. From global organizations to organizations within your field of study. There's a supply chain organization for me. I'm looking to get in next year. There, I don't know, marketing organizations for marketing people or all sort of stuff. I have a lot of friends that do that. Um, there's a lot of the people I know are involved in sports because I'm an athlete. I have friends from, I don't know, all kinds of sports. So we have soccer, we have lacrosse, we have volleyball, we have tennis, golf, just a lot of, just making sure. Yes.
Yeah, I'll read this one.
Okay,
It's
have another
from
question.
Khalid, and the question is, I'm a university student from Morocco, and I want to know what are the requirements in order to apply for a course at Marquette. So we'll review the application criteria quickly a second for Khalid, and welcome to the chat. So to apply to Marquette, the first thing you're going to want to do, Khalid, is go to our website. You can see that listed there on the slide, and you want to complete our online application. And then on our website, you'll also see a list of the required materials to apply to Marquette. Those would be academic documents, English evidence, and financial evidence. Really briefly, academic documents will be your high school transcript and any external exams. If you're in the French system, we would need the baccalaureate results if you're finished. If not, we'll need them before you start. If you're in the British system, then we'll want your transcript as well as any IGCSE or AS level exam results. So those would be some examples of the academic documents we'd need. Also, on the academic side, we want a letter of reference from a recent teacher. For English evidence, what we usually see is a TOEFL or an IELTS score. We do have an English language program right next to campus that we work with. So if you want to come to the U.S. to earn final admission by doing your English studies here, use that for your English evidence, you can do that. But again, most students use an IELTS or a TOEFL score. And then we need financial evidence, which is usually, there's a form on our website that you'll see listed there that you can have your financial sponsor complete. So in a nutshell, those are the things that we would need for an application. Feel free to ask any follow-up questions about that. And we'll kind of talk a little more while we're waiting for possible questions about the social stuff.
Yeah.
You were about to say, you were talking about sports, and there are a
Yes.
lot of sports organizations. There are also, I forget the number, but it's 250 or 300 student organizations on campus.
Yeah.
From water skiing and jet skiing to anything you can think of, pretty much. And if there's not an organization that you're interested in, it's not.
You can start one.
You can start one. That's why there's 250
Yeah.
of them. They're really driven by students. Do you know anybody who's doing stuff like that?
Yes, I do know a lot of, actually not a lot, but a couple of my teammates are involved in faith organizations. So there's like a faith organization crew, I think it's called, on campus. These organizations are great because it basically brings students together that share same interests, same knowledge, basically you get to know new people, make new connections.
And they're based on, the common things will be, they may have an academic theme. You mentioned a couple of those. They might have a language or a cultural theme. They may have a social justice theme. There's several social justice based or oriented clubs on campus, and that really fits in with Marquette's identity as a Catholic Jesuit school. They're very interested in, one of our models is be the difference, or men and women for others. They want you to not just be improving your own life while you're here, but learning how and actually engaging in making a difference in the life of people around you and in the community around you. So you'll see that emphasis in the classroom, but you'll also see that in a lot of the student organizations as well. You can get involved in student government, all sorts of clubs and groups to get involved in. Right?
Yeah.
This year we had some international students go on spring service projects. So during the spring break, which is about a week long, they went to 4 or 5 different locations. I recently spoke with one student who went to Oklahoma and worked with the Native American community there. And she's from China, and she just had an amazing experience in working with the community, learning from the community. Went in a sweat lodge and experienced that, and just really had a transforming experience and got to make some really good friends, as well as get a perspective on life that you just can't get unless you have those kind of connections that a university can give you. So that's campus. So student organizations. There's also a lot of just recreational activities on campus, and maybe you can say some of the things that you know that you've engaged in. What kind of social opportunities, not groups, but just activities, does Marquette provide for students?
Well, there's I think I talk a lot about a lot of sporting events. There's pretty much free entrance to anything, any type of sport. Actually men's basketball as well. So you can go to support any type of sport. There's a lot of events on campus within your college of whatever field you're studying. There's a lot of speakers you can attend. They either talk about internships like we talked before, employment opportunities, or how to prepare you for life. OIE has a lot of events, Office of International Education, where we are right now. They have
Halloween.
We do.
We
Did you do Halloween?
Yes,
So
actually.
cultural events around
Halloween
or Easter or other American holidays, Thanksgiving. What did you do for Halloween?
We bought a pumpkin. We didn't actually carve it. But we just get dressed. You pick a theme you want to, be a kid again.
So they'll do cultural events. Sometimes they're educational events. We had the French ambassador speaking here the other week. Sometimes they're just fun, goofy stuff like karaoke or bowling or bingo or some kind of arts or crafts project, music, concerts.
It's just a way to kind of get away from all the hard academics and have a little fun. OIE also like right now we're doing finals week, so OI gives study breaks, and you can just stop by and get some
Food.
free snacks. Yeah, just have a break from all the hard studying.
Yeah, so students tend to have pretty full lives at Marquette between the
Yeah.
socializing and the academic work. Um, but if for any reason they have extra time and energy and they want to get away from campus, Milwaukee is also just a fabulous city. I've lived here for 13 years, not originally from here, but really like the city. What are some of the things you like to do if you get out into
Um,
Milwaukee, Christina?
I love downtown Milwaukee. We're very close downtown. Is I think 10 minutes by bus, or you can even walk. Probably 15-20 minutes. You walked all the way downtown. So that's nice because Marquette campus is within the city and close downtown. There's a place called Third Ward in Milwaukee. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of little shops like shopping places you can go. I go sometimes there to study. There's Starbucks there. You can just relax or go with your friends, get food or do a little shopping. I love the lake. We're really close to the lake as well and to the beach. So you can just walk down to the lakefront, and if it's nice weather, you enjoy the nice weather. Um,
The lake, she says, when you have to think more like ocean, it's the fifth largest lake in the world.
Yes.
It's about 60 miles across and about 180 miles from top to bottom. It's a just giant, and it is a beautiful, beautiful place to go hang out. There's festival grounds right next to the lake where Milwaukee has all kinds of cultural festivals, and in the summer they have a giant music festival for about 2 weeks. There's a state park right there where they hold other festivals and events, and where you can go hang out and bike and sit on the grass. There's a Discovery World Museum, which is sort of a science museum with an aquarium and really interesting exhibits. The art museum is down there.
Yes.
Beautiful world-class art museum. In fact, the lakefront in Milwaukee is not allowed to be developed. The only things that can be built there are things for the community to use. So it's basically all parks and museums, and it's an amazing space.
Yeah, and they have this. I think it's one of the biggest summer fests in the country. They have it in the summer. Never actually been here for it in the summer, but I will be this summer, so I'm really looking forward to that. There's a lot of I heard there's a lot of activity, a lot of people come to sing, and from different genres, country to a lot, pop, culture, anything.
Literally hundreds of acts at the Summerfest Festival for music. It's really amazing. So, but all year round we have a symphony in Milwaukee, a ballet, you have professional sports, great theater troupes in the city, several different ones, and on campus.
Yes.
Professional baseball, soccer, hockey. So lots and lots of things to get involved in. I personally really like the restaurant scene. There's some amazing restaurants in Marquette. The coffee shops and cafes here, we've got a couple coffee shops, one of which it's Collectivo, has been voted like to be one of the top 10 coffee chains in the United States. So it's a really great town to hang out in. And as I said, I've been here 13 years and it seems to get a little better every year.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Some other things you can do, watch the Milwaukee sports teams, like the Brewers, which is baseball if you're a fan, or the Bucks basketball. Also they have the Admirals, I think, hockey, still at the Bradley Center. They're all fairly close to Marquette campus. Never been to soccer games, but you have that option as well. So there's a lot of activities.
Yep. So we're getting kind of close to the end of our time. There's a few folks still participating. If anybody has any questions, this would be a great time to type them in, and we'll try to answer them in the few minutes we have remaining. Otherwise, I think we're getting close to the point where we'll wrap up. We will be chatting throughout the day, so feel free to come back to the room. We won't have the video presentation, but we will have people in the room chatting for the next 8 hours or so. So we're happy to take questions. Tell your friends to come in and ask questions. But we have a couple more minutes here if anybody wants to give us one more question before we say goodbye to the video portion of our day. No, I don't see anything. So we'll just say thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to chatting on the keyboard with some of you throughout the day, and we hope that some of you will be joining us at Marquette in the near future.
Thank you.